And we're live. This is BUB'S Comics coming at you with the No Faces Comic Chat. Hello, everyone in the chat, and welcome to our special guest and our usual not so special guests, aka co-hosts. We've got to my right, metaphorically, certainly not physically. Nope, he's not there. We have Roger, or Metarog. Say hi, Roger.
Greetings, everyone.
I can never get him just to say hi. He's just got to say greetings. It's always greetings. And to my left, possibly in the middle, I'm not quite sure. We have DS Comics. Say hello.
Hello.
Yep, he's in the middle. Great. And our special guest this evening, we've had him on before, but we didn't learn our lesson, is Stir Fry from Centauri Stir Fry. Say hello.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, that was great.
Good.
He's having some technical issues with his microphone, so he might have to yell every now and then. He's not really that angry.
No.
He's just okay. Good. Well, he might be. Really, we don't know. We're just gonna steer clear. In the chat already, we have Comic Geek McD. Hey. Hello, Mr. D. We have Mike from Area 51. Hello, hello.
Hey, Mike.
Let's see. We've got congrats. He had 1,000 subs, didn't he?
Yeah.
Way to go, brother. And hi, Leah, Comic Bro. The name I just can't get wrong anymore. It just rolls off the tongue. Once you know it, you can't forget it. It's good stuff. We got the Gray Man. Welcome.
Gray Man.
So that's a couple people across the pond already.
Well, that was scary.
Yeah. We got Comic Lover Omega. Hey, what's up? And Deadpool 2323's in the chat. Welcome. And Gorilla Grodd 05. Yo. All right, good deal. Good to have y'all. If there's anyone I missed, then it's Roger's fault. He usually handles this part of the chat.
Harn.
Yep. We had
I didn't, it wouldn't be my fault.
That's true. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, slow start and stuff. But I tell you, now, no one ever, as you all know, you only ever see BUB'S Comics on BUB'S Comics. And that's not because I refuse to go on other people's chats. It's just because I've never been invited. But but rather dissimilarly, I do have two popular co-hosts in DS Comics and Metarog, and I think finally now we can have a complete consensus that although we may have some technical difficulties here on the No Faces chat, they at least start. and I can tell you that it's very difficult to get this stuff rolling sometimes, as both now Roger and his experience on Saturday and DS and his experience sometime 3 weeks ago can attest to. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, it does. But I did want to say though, Bub, that Lawrence told me to tell you again, many thanks because he was having a lot of difficulty. If people have not seen the Saturday chat on the Go To Geeks channel, we were having a lot of difficulty getting the chat going, and so we called Bub, being the expert at these things, and he's the one who broke through and allowed us to have that chat. So thank you from me and from everybody in the Saturday chat, Bub.
Oh, I wasn't fishing for any thank yous, Roger. Just an invite to a show somewhere. So you can pass that along. I mean, thank you. I mean, you're welcome, of course.
I think they said that they could not have done it without you. So you were just as instrumental as anybody in that chat.
Well, you've got my address. I'll take money in comics or anything else. It's all good.
Yeah, Deadpool 2323 says that, hey, Roger and DS, I'm going to start a live chat and invite you guys.
There you go.
Thanks. What a joke. What a joke, that guy.
You can call it Comic Chat Charity. There you go.
Yeah. I think he's mean to me. What do you think, Stir Fry? Are they mean to me?
It sounds like it's deserved, but I mean, I think people still appreciate you, which is good.
Hey, let me tell you, the FBI may roll up and take me away to jail, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to fight to get away. I may deserve it, but I don't want it, you know. In the chat, we've got this is a new one. I don't know. All My Kitties. Have we had All My Kitties before? And it's kitties with a YS, not an IES. So that's an interesting grammatical choice.
I'm subbing you up, All My Kitties.
That doesn't sound good, but we'll allow it.
Mr. Gretzky's in here too.
And we got Comic Girl Ava. What's up?
Woohoo! I think she's down in South Florida.
Are you tracking her or like that?
No. Hialeah, I think Hialeah Comic Bro, I think said he saw her at or was it JLS? One of them two were down in South Florida and saw her at a show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You guys can see me in Vegas in my usual engagement. But I'm taking a break in order to collect comics.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Nerdy Girl. Not yeah, that was Nerdy Girl that he saw down in South Florida. My bad.
Oh, okay. Now Ava's wondering who's looking through her window. Way to go, Roger.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh man. DS, you're awful quiet tonight. What do you got going on over there in the basement of horrors?
Well, I'm just listening in right now, and I'm researching. Every so often, every week or so, I break out my LB Cole research materials, and I dig really deep on the dark web to see if I can find any cool esoteric LB Cole stuff. So that's what I was doing. I was just finishing that up.
All right. Well, don't get us any of those viruses from the dark web. I hear they're pretty seedy joints.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. So I apologize in advance. The easier the better for my collection.
Use some kind of cryptocurrency there. Yes.
What's that?
Use some kind of cryptocurrency to cover your tracks, just in case. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like comic books.
You don't want to leave a digital trail in the dark web. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I'm good at remaining off the grid, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for me.
Although I hear it's a great place to meet friends, but I'm not sure. I haven't done it.
And we got Deadpool says he'll let me be on. I'll be his first guest on the show. We'll see. He might be tossing pies. I don't know. I don't take every invitation, you know. All right. So let's go ahead and roll into our first and probably only topic of the night, as things tend to go. Oh, wait a minute. Who are we? Does anybody remember who we are?
I can't remember, but it sounds like it's a name that we have used before or similar to one, but I can't remember what it is.
Thanks for that. So it's unoriginal. It's unoriginal and forgettable.
Yes, and I think it lacks alliteration as well. So 3 strikes on tonight. So
we're out of sight. Out of sight.
I thought you hated the alliteration.
I mean, I miss it.
Oh man, he's got Helsinki
sort of like
syndrome.
when you have you're with a girl and you can't take it anymore, and you're so fed up, and you break up with her. You still miss her for a little bit, even though you don't like her. That's how I feel about the alliteration.
I can't relate to that one.
All right.
I can tell you, and they stay dropped. They get dropped and they stay dropped. I promise you. Man, that's an easy sober for me.
Well, Bub, if you had a little more heart, you'd get invitations to these chats. See, there you go.
And I'm doing the best I can. I swear it grew 3 sizes this year. All right, well, let's get rolling. Tonight we are, like Roger so astutely pointed out, we are the Out of Sight Comic Squad, and it sounds familiar and boring. So we'll move on from that. But basically, what we're going to talk about tonight are things that we have kind of missed out on, or more specifically, stuff that we had and got rid of in some form or another. So, or things that we just flat out missed out on. So, like, for instance, here are 2 examples of things that I missed out on, but then got back later. So this Cave Woman #1, I missed out on being the high bidder at like $60 for like 2 years ago. And I didn't see another one come up for auction for 2 years. So for 2 years, I was kicking myself because all the other ones that came up for auction were high grade slabs and they were like $200-300. So I was so mad that I didn't pull the trigger on that mid-grade raw for $60. And so obviously someone else got it. And I was like, no, I'm not spending that kind of money. Of course, that was 2 years ago. So $60 was like, what, are you kidding me? I'm not spending $60 on a comic book? You're crazy. Now I spend that on like supplies, just to put them all in. So anyway, they were, so then I got lucky. It came back to me at the end of the last year. And this one is kind of a different one. So there's a Werewolf by Night #1 that I was after on eBay. And I was going to put in a best offer. The guy hadn't had any takers, but it was a restored copy. And it had color touch it was slight color touch. So it was restored. I think it was an 8.5, but it was a beautiful book. And so DS had talked me out of buying it. And I kind of wish I had bought it because I don't know that color touch bothers me as much as it's supposed to. So
it doesn't bother me at all.
Are you at all? Well, DS was beside himself that I was going to purchase the restored book.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember that. I mean, there's two. I don't know what group I'm in, minority, majority, whatever, golden age, moderns, whatever. But there's two things I cannot take. I won't abide on a comic book, and that's color touch and trimming. Those two things, it's the low grade is better than no grade. I would rather have no grade than a color touch or a trimmed book.
Wow.
And that applies to pretty much everything. If I came across an Action 1 that had color touch and trimming, I would sell it. If it didn't, I would keep it. Wow. Yeah, that's literally how strong I feel about those two things. But, that's my personal collection. It's not right or wrong. And that's just my view of it.
I mean, I'm not crazy about trimming, right? But color touch doesn't bother me because all you're doing is you're increasing the eye appeal. Now, if it's well done, if you just got a magic marker and you're sticking it on there, well, that's different, right? But if it's well done, to me, that doesn't, and especially if you're preserving a comic book, I have absolutely zero problems with that.
Yeah, and there's definitely a market for it. And, there's a lot of books that are otherwise out of reach to most people were it not for the restored copies on the market where you can still get the book at a much more affordable price and enjoy the actual book. So, I mean, there's a use for it. There's a market for it. It's just my personal preference.
I think, but yes, Suspense 3.
If I found a Suspense 3, it was in my price range and had color touch and trimming, I would consider it, but I think I ultimately would turn it down, or I would at least get it with the plan of trying to make a big buck off it down the road by selling it. But I would never be comfortable with it in my collection, but I would highly consider getting that because, as you know, that's my all-time holy grail.
Right.
But even that book, I have strong reservations about picking one of those up with color touch and or trimming. I mean, and that just shows you how strong I feel about it, that even my absolute grail, I would have reservations.
Yeah, I thought Knights of Old got you there, but you're right. But no, he didn't.
No, I mean,
sticking to his guns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to speak my mind on things, and I'm honest about it. And if I say something, that's how I feel. I'm not gonna, I change my mind and my opinions over time, but that's how I feel about those things. So yes, if Bub calls me, if Bub wants somebody to help him co-sign a prospective purchase that's got restoration, I'm not the one to call. Call Roger, and you get the deal done.
Oh man.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Hey, we got some more people in the chat. We got Lord Tatman, Michael Dodd, Bad Dad 320. Hello, all Knights of Old, as you said. See, it's Night Tiger, of course. I know that. But I used to always say Nightinger. I guess I threw an extra N in there somewhere. Nice. I don't know. But it's Night Tiger, obviously.
Cool guy.
And hey, are you still having some tech issues there, Stir Fry?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Not really. You're like bopping in and out. It's kind of like you're on a trampoline or something, and the microphone's at the top. And every time you bounce up close to it, we hear what you're saying. Then you fall right back out.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
It's Stir Fry. Well, I would like to welcome Stir Fry to the program.
You guys
all right.
talked about the thing that bothers me worse than anything is people think about pupils at Spider-Man. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I think you said the thing that bothers you the most is when people get Spider-Man's web stuck in there. What? Wait, say that again.
Good.
Was that it? We lost the last part.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Good.
Go back to that. Go back to that one setting you had where it was lower, but we could hear it, but we could hear you fully. Probe 186 in the house. Rayman's in the house. Boy. And DS Comics is in the house from an undisclosed location, I'm sure.
That's my alter ego participating in the
Filtered
chat.
through the dark web.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Let's see. I'll go ahead since I usually never get to go. Like I let you guys go first, and I never get to do my part. So I'll show another one. This is Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, number 14, and I'm only showing this because I don't have my 9/8 copy of Marvel Tales number 1 or whatever that was, the first appearance of Spider-Ham and various others. And I sold that for like 30 bucks, I think, to an LCS in my early days. And I found it in the wild and got it slabbed and sold it for 30 bucks. So
Well,
I missed that.
Yeah, I had a in my younger days when I had long box after long box of just stuff. I pared my collection down over the last few years, as you know. Early on, one of the first sets of books to go, I had a whole stack of these Marvel Star books, and there were a lot in there that had Spider-Ham on them. I don't remember which issues, but there were several, and along with a bunch of like the movie stuff, whatever. The Marvel Star brand had a bunch of that type of stuff, and I sold all those off for just as cheap as I could. Just I wanted to get some money out of them because to me they were just worthless. Nobody wanted them, so I would try to package them and get rid of them. But I had a whole stack of those, and it's amazing to me that they're worth something now. Like,
me too.
And I think it's the Miles Morales movie is why. But you know, those were never really sought after, except for the one that has the anniversary border on it. Those anniversary borders sometimes are very hard to find. Some of those are really hard to find. But like this one and the Marvel Tales one, nobody wanted those ever. And I had a bunch from a lot I picked up, and they were just taking up space, and I sold those. Those were one of the first sets of books to go when I pared down.
Wow. They got pretty popular when that Spider-Ham stuff came on the big screen. Of course, that's an Oscar-winning movie now, right?
Is it?
Yeah, won an Oscar last night, I think, for best animated movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I'll check it out when it comes on demand for free. I can't spend comic money on it, so I'll have to wait.
Good man.
Spend date money on it and take your lovely lady. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, it's tough to get her to go to one of these types of movies. And I was blown away when she said, "Hey, let's go see Venom on the big screen." I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So that's the last movie we went to. I think she's interested enough in the Avengers Infinity War series to go to the next one, because I told her she would like it. It's sci-fi, it's exciting, and so we watched that, and she's like, "Yeah, that's pretty good." So I think I might be able to get her to go to the next one.
Cool. Another one that I foolishly this one makes me even more mad because I didn't sell it. What's funny is that the last book, the Marvel Tales book, the first appearance of Spider-Ham, I basically got rid of that. Well, I bought it to get rid of it, but then also because my wife just didn't like it. She thought, "That's stupid. That's silly. That doesn't fit with the rest of your collection. You should sell it." So I did. Similarly, she hates these covers that have that like hollow foil that barely works. Like she really hates those. And I had the whole set of these, and I had probably about 5 or 6 of this one. And she was like, "Get rid of those." I was like, "All right, I'll give them away as AOKs." So for my first several, what do you call them, subscriber contests or whatever, I was giving these away. So I kept the best copy that I had, I think, but they were all pretty decent. And then now that became, not that I would have still wanted to have it and keep it, but I would have sold it, right? Because they're like $30 a piece or something if you stumble into the wrong room.
What is that? Is that Spider-Man 2099 or something?
Yeah,
it is.
It's the first kind of first like pre-appearance kind of thing.
I think
Yeah.
that was the book that started the variant craze because they put out like 6 different colors of that, right?
Well, no, they're
No.
different titles. There are 2 of each. There's a silver edition and a gold edition. And a lot of people don't know that or don't notice that because that you'll see them collect them and they're such poor quality. The the holograph or whatever is such poor quality that you can't hardly tell the difference between gold and silver. But if you're holding 2 next to each other and you hold it just right, there is a silver foil edition and a gold foil edition for each of the books. And I think there's 4 books that have that on them.
Only 2 of them had the gold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting them. Hold on.
What's the book I'm thinking of that had like they issued it in like 4 different colors? They had like a red, a blue, a yellow, and an orange or something.
Could that be the X-Men Wolverine hologram?
No, I think it might not even been a hologram. I don't know. I thought it was like an early 90s book where I thought it was a Spider-Man and they did maybe 4 different colors for it or
It
something.
could be Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1 McFarlane
Or
run.
are you talking about the Batman one that had the different colors?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Legend of the Batman.
Legend of the Batman, yeah.
Yeah, they did like 8 colors: pink, blue, green, yellow. It's hideous.
It might be that one. I remember Bueller showed it several months back on a video. And I remember those when they came out like in late 80s, early 90s or something.
That sounds like it, yeah. It's like a pink one, a yellow one, a blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the Batman. Yeah, the ones you're talking about, Bub, are these. These are second printings, and so they did the hologram in gold.
Yeah.
And the only ones I've been able to find are the Spectacular Spider-Man 189 and the Web of Spider-Man 90. I think you can see that gold there, right?
Yeah, you can see the gold there.
Okay.
So they didn't make a gold one of this one or Amazing or
I haven't been
regular?
able to find it. I've been looking for 20 years.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. See, we're learning stuff already. And I'm going to pass this off to DS. This will be the last one that I show. And the reason I'm passing it off is because I wonder if he misses this. Because he gave this to me.
That is nice.
As an AOK, and I've treasured it ever since. And I know if I let it go, I'd be missing it.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Legends
of the Dark Knight. Grayman says it's Legends of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, number 1.
I think DS lost audio.
Oh, yeah, his mic is crossed out. Oh, there. Oh, DS?
Hold on, I'm trying.
How about now?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, I was going to say the only time I miss that is when you show it, really. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I don't miss it.
Here you go.
I would miss it. Thanks. I would miss it more if I sold it to somebody and it just went out and I never saw it again. I'm really glad you have it. I picked that up several years ago. I enjoyed it for a long time. It's really cool and it's super good condition. And I don't really regret any of the stuff I've sold. There's some stuff I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have sold it, or I need to get that back in my collection. But even the rarest books will come back up again. So if you get rid of something, you can always reacquire it. Now, money's an issue because things go up over time. The things that I regret the most are the ones that I didn't pick up. And that relates to the 2 I'm showing. I sell a lot of books, and at first when you sell a book, or when I sold a book, I would struggle with it for a long time because I'm worried if I'm going to regret it. And then I would sell it, and as I had no regrets and went on, I sold more and more and bigger, harder and harder to find books, whatever. I found that I don't regret any of that. But what I do have regrets is when I passed up on a book or I didn't pick something up. This horrific, I passed up on a CGC 4.0 with off-white pages. And it was a book I was looking for, and it only went for like $300. And I should have got it. And after that, I picked this one up. This one ended up being a 1.8 with slightly brittle. And it's so hard to find. I'll find another one. But I could have had that one. And that would have been my PC copy for life. Similarly with this one, this is a regret that I have where early on in Golden Age, and this happens to a lot of collectors when they first get into a particular era or just collecting in general, you jump on the first one you find. You think you're never going to see it again. You have the money, you see it, you jump on it. Patience is a virtue in collecting. And if you wait and you can find stuff you want, this one came up, I jumped on it. 2 weeks later, a 3.5 comes up for the same price. Of course, I didn't have the money then because I spent it on this 2.0. I love this book. It's good enough for me. But if I would have just waited, picked my spots, and been a little patient, I'd have a better copy of this right now. So those are the type of regrets I have: jumping on things too early, not having the patience, and to wait for something, to pick your spots, and then when something does come up, passing up on it when it's in your zone, like I did for this one. So those are the type of regrets I have. But as far as what I've sold or given away or gotten rid of, I don't really have regrets. I mean, there's stuff I've gotten rid of years ago that now is worth hundreds of dollars. Yeah, all right, but if I would have kept it and not had that regret and sold it today for hundreds, months from now, years from now, it might be worth thousands. I mean, you can't second guess selling something for money to use for something else. You can't go back in time or look forward and say, I could have made more if I waited or whatever. You just got to, be comfortable. If you need the money, if you want to sell something, if it doesn't fit in your collection, you need to move it. You got to move on and not have regrets about it. So that's the regrets I have in the market, in the collecting.
I tell you, I love that startling terror that you have there. And to me, I wouldn't mind, I think one of the things I like about it is the character it has. I'm a low grade collector, and sometimes books have a certain image, or if you would, defect or whatever, blemish, that give it character. And isn't that the book that has the cereal bowl press mark on it?
Yeah, I'll show you it. This one is really rough. When I post a picture, everybody's like, wow, good looking copy. It's not. I don't know how well this is going to come in, but there's a ring on the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it.
Like a cereal bowl ring or something. There's staining across the title, across the top of the book. What else is there here? Yeah, I mean, there's some wear and some stain on this right edge. It's rough. I mean, but it's still good enough for me, because basically what I'm looking for is books that don't have chips missing, don't have resto. This is a complete book, and it's just got some issues on it, but there's not chunks missing. I really don't like when pieces of books are missing on the cover. So yeah, I mean, it's decent. It's not restored. It's got nice page quality, and yeah, it is what it is. It's good. It's definitely lived its life. It's got what I call honest wear. Hasn't been touched up. Doesn't have any huge massive defects. It just has honest wear from living its life since 1952.
That's good. I like it. I think it's awesome. I like it better than a near mint copy, I'd think.
Well, I mean, I tell myself that I'd rather have these than the near mint copies, but I don't know if that's just because I can't ever afford those. But there is something, gritty and real about a book this old that has wear. This Horrific has slightly brittle pages. I'm not a fan of that because it's not readable without pieces falling off in your hands. Yeah. It's towards the end of its life, and I will upgrade this. This is on my list to upgrade. This one, I might upgrade it. Yeah, I'd like to have, a little better copy, but, I'm happy with this one. The Horrific, it's awesome to look at appearance-wise, but the substance of it, it's got some major issues that makes it almost unreadable without pieces falling off. That bothers me.
Yeah. It still looks beautiful in the case. It really is a great presenting copy.
Yeah, I mean, for a 1.8, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And really, it's not the 1.8 that bothers me, honestly. I would, 1.8 is even low, but I'd be happy with 1.8 if it had off-white pages.
But the brittle is too much for you, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to sell that until I upgrade because it's so hard to find.
Yeah, smart. Yeah.
What about you, Stir Fry? What you got for us? You missing any books that you giving away, or any that you missed out on picking up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We hear you great.
All right, cool. I have a pretty good memory of X-Men #9, getting rid of that when I was hard up for cash. And I ended up selling that for nothing, and that really upset me. And also, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man like '98, like the unapproved like drug issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And that was a part of the bulk of the comics I sold at that time. But I got that one back, so I was pretty happy with that. But I still need to hunt down that early X-Men book. But other than that, yeah, regrettables like just missing out on your moment when you should have striked, like he was talking about. Yeah, definitely. I think the book that my wife bought me for Christmas, I had an opportunity. It was Fantastic Four 49, I believe. I should have got that like years ago when I had an offer. I made an offer on eBay and they came back with like $100, and I was like, well, I'll wait. And I just never got back to it. And now it's ridiculously overpriced, so I regret that for sure. But stories like that always get to me. But I recently picked up I don't know if you can see this, but I got a pretty okay copy of that.
Oh, Bob's gonna kill you.
Is it too bright? What happened?
Man, nothing. I just put it in the chat there. I just passed on one of those books yesterday, and I can't find the. It was on Facebook, and now I can't find the sale auction that was going on, and it ends tomorrow, and I can't find the freaking link. So there you go.
Sorry, man.
But you do have my address. That's beautiful. I want one of those real bad. First Emma Frost, first Kitty Pryde. Yeah. I wish the cover looked a little better. Like, I'm not crazy about the cover image.
Yeah.
But the significance of the book is good, and the story is really good. That whole Dark Phoenix saga is great. So
yeah, I love that book. It's actually my second copy, but I was hoping this one was better than the one I had that I had previously. It's graded, but it was kind of low. I was just kind of desperate for it, kind of like what DS was talking about. I just kind of jumped on it, but I was kind of hoping this was like around the same. But it was a good deal. It was at a flea market, so I went.
Was it around the same, or like which one are you getting rid of, and how much do I have to pay you for it? We'll talk after the show.
I don't know. I think it's pretty close to the one I have graded, but it was too cheap, and I love the book, and it's kind of one of those books I was hunting down for a while, and it's just never there. It's never at a comic book store. It's never on the wall. It's never, I just, for some reason, it's just never. I agree. It's hard to find for some reason for me in this neck of the woods anyway. So
I'm having the same problem. I think the books that I found, that because I've been collecting a lot of keys this last 5-6 months, and what I'm finding is that unless the cover appearance is the same as the key, then a lot of the shops won't carry them. So, like, if that had Emma Frost on the cover and Kitty Pryde on the cover, and it was easily recognizable as the first appearance, even Fantastic Four 48, right? It says the coming of Galactus right on it, right?
Right.
So, it's very obvious what's going on there. But a book like that, it leaves nothing. It tells nothing about, Emma Frost or Kitty Pryde. You're just guessing. You have to already know that there's something in there that's special.
That's correct. Yeah. I don't want to say how much I paid for it, but it wasn't bad at all, for sure. Flea markets, they're the way to go. I love them.
Yeah, they work out good. I know Ray's in the house. Ray, the silencer man, he's a big flea market finder.
Yeah. Oh man, he's the best at that, man.
He loves it. Don, the comic book junkie, goes about every other hour. I think about every 2 hours he goes to the flea market.
Yeah, but I think they're closing it. The one that we went to over there in Oldsmar. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And my flea market gets rated. Like it's a peddler's mall, so there's no attendant. So it's just long boxes, and then and everything's $1 or $2. And usually anything that's like Silver Age, he'll put $2 on, and anything bronze or newer is $1. So I just dig through there. But when you're there, all the comic shops in the area send people there every morning to dig through the boxes to bring comics back to the shop that they can either sell at a higher price or like do a Facebook auction with, to give away in blind polls and other type gimmicky stuff. So it gets rated every day. So I know by the time I get there, I still find things that other people don't necessarily know to look for, because usually the people who get sent aren't the best comic hunters, I'd say, or not the most knowledgeable. So they pass by a lot of good stuff. So I still go, but everybody goes to the same place to get comics, and it's one booth at a flea market. So it's pretty rough.
This flea market has two. There's like one that has some pretty good, dollar books that sometimes you might find something cool in it, or maybe it's just gonna be something that you grew up with. You know, you can find it like a good deal on something like $1 book. Then there's this other guy who has like, you know, he has a pretty wide variety of some pretty good keys. He knows what he's doing, but and he's fair, so you can usually negotiate with him, and he's fair. And those books don't just fly out of there unless you come up there prepared to spend some money. So it's, you know, the prices are it's better than a comic store, and it's a lot better than eBay. So I like to hit that guy up every weekend if I can. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's good to hold the book and see the book and tell the condition for yourself.
Right.
That to me, I pay a little bit extra for that. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. What about statues and things? Because don't you pre-order a lot of your statues and, you know, stuff like that. So when it comes in, sometimes you got to not be real happy with it, right? And so you sell it, I guess.
Well, if it's direct from certain companies, you can send it back. Like I just had that Batwoman, and I send that back, got my money back for it. So it was pretty disappointing. But yeah. Sometimes I'll sell statues on eBay all the time. I sold a Punisher statue and some other things just to get his first appearance. It's because like a book I've always wanted. So I sold a few statues and bought that first appearance probably about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. That 129, I believe, right? Yeah. So,
wow.
So I had to do that. You know, unfortunately, statues, some of them gain. Some of them, you know, it's not a good investment. I'll tell you that much right now. It's just,
really?
It's kind of a dumb investment, I believe. Some of them go up, most of them go down. You sell it what you can if you're not 100% happy with it. And I was selling a lot of statues to fill in, to get some keys that I wanted. I kind of go back and forth. So I was getting like some Fantastic Four stuff and Punisher and things like that I've always liked as a kid, and so I was just making sacrifices, trying to clean out the storage area, which I still have a lot of work to do because I have way too many statues.
Statues take up a lot of space, but I think they're really awesome. But what you mentioned there about they're not good investments, you know, I've got 3 categories of books that I like. Some I just like, and they're terrible investments. Some I don't really like, but they're great investments. And then some are decent investments, and I like them. And what I've done is I just stick to that middle category anymore. You know, maybe when I have every book I ever want, and the only one left I want is out there is a terrible investment, I'll just buy it. Mm-hmm. There's so many books I want. I just stick to the ones that are good investments, and I like them. But sometimes I still find something I really like. It's a terrible investment. It's a waste of money, essentially, but I really dig it. And, you know, it's worth getting. I just don't consider it an investment book. It's just something I really dig. And those statues are really awesome. If I was loaded, I'd be buying some statues.
Yeah, I don't collect anything for. It's nice to have something cool that people want and people appreciate, and it's like, you know, there's a consensus that this is an awesome thing, but usually everything I have is like things that I want. It's not like I'm planning on a retirement here. It's just like a hobby. It's fun, and it's brings you some amount of joy, whether it's comics or statues or something. It's usually just a return to whatever, you know, as a youth, as a kid. It's really what it is. It just kind of helps keep me young, and it keeps me excited about things. I know some people might laugh at that, maybe think that's kind of pathetic. Sometimes that's my wife, but it's okay.
soon it'll be. You have a new baby girl, don't you?
I do. I'm surprised she's not yelling and making more noise. Yeah, Eleanor. She's 7 months old now.
Oh wow!
What a cutie.
Congratulations again. Soon she'll be laughing at you too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, she's
30 minutes off
adorable.
my statues. It's fine.
What an adorable! when you guys showed her, I was like, you know, oh, what an adorable baby! Oh gosh,
thank you, Rob.
What a beauty!
It's amazing that I had anything to do with that, but yeah.
Well, you know, she tends, you know, to go towards your wife. Thank God.
Yeah,
so,
really.
Yeah.
I lucked out
Who
there.
knows?
Yeah,
she might be wearing a wool hat by the end of the year. You never know.
Sometimes prayer pays off.
There you go. It always pays off. It just doesn't always pay off from our point of view, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have one more regret I forgot about. If you guys want to hear this one,
let's hear it.
All right. So I probably was 10 years old, maybe 11 years old, something like that. And I'm reading through one of my Thor comic books, and they used to have those inserts in them. It was like a yellow page, and it had all these comics listed with little checkbox by them, and you could cut it out and send it in with money and buy some issues off of that list from some backstock deal or whatever. They used to have a lot of that in those 80s comics. So I had a few quarters, and I was going to send in to buy a couple of these back issues, and I'm looking through and I'm going through the list and I'm marking off things that sound cool. And there was a Thor issue that I had seen on a newsstand at the supermarket or something. So I knew that one. I was like, oh, I really want that, but that came out a couple months ago. I missed it. So, and then I had the other one on here I never heard of, but it just sounded so cool. I was like, man, maybe I'll get that. It sounds awesome. And it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 to just come out, but there was a backstock dealer had a couple of them or whatever. So I'm deciding what I want to get. I didn't have really money as an 11-year-old, maybe a little allowance left, but I was buying baseball cards back then, so I didn't have much either. So I opted for the Thor book and got that, and I passed up on the TMNT 1 for $0.25. And, you know, never really even regretted it until, I don't know, 10 years ago. And because I would have bought that and put it in the long boxes that I had at my parents' house that I never even touched for 25 years. And yeah, it would have been, you know, if they would have sent me a mint copy, it would be a mint copy when I looked at it, you know, a couple of years ago. So that I regret. Just, you know, I would have sold it though, so I just regret the money I would have gotten. So I don't know if that counts technically as a regret. Because I would have just dumped it because it's worth a lot, but whatever.
Funny.
Not the same kind of regret, I guess. Just more of a greed regret because I would have missed out on a bunch of money I would have.
Well, sometimes it's the same difference, right? I mean, one of the, you know, you guys know that every time I pick one of these topics, it's always because I have something I'm working on and I want your opinion on it really more than anything. And I got that, you know, big book that I know for some people will be like a huge grail, and I'm really excited with it too. I already sent it to CGC this morning.
Oh, damn.
Already shipped it out. Yep. I didn't want it in my possession any longer. I just get it out of here. Yeah, I'm getting it pressed and graded, and I even sprung for the expedited because I want it back quick too.
Well, when you're working on a margin like that, you can afford to put what you put into it for the grading, which probably comes up to $75.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's worth it. So we'll see what it comes back at. If it comes back at a 9.6 or a 9.8, for those who didn't catch my video earlier, it was a Legion of Supergirl and Legion of Superheroes 23, the Adam Hughes variant, the Adam Hughes Supergirl cover. And I can't show it now because it's gone. But I'm going to, when it comes back, if it comes back at 9.8, that's like a $1,200 book. I mean, there's so many silver. I spent $2 to get it. I mean, it was a crazy deal. So, you know, how do I not? It's a book I didn't own Friday. And if somebody said, hey, here's $1,200, just don't leave the house today. If someone told me that Saturday, I would have taken the deal, you know? You know?
Yeah, well, so, what's going to happen when you get that back is what happens to me a lot. I have a CGC package coming back. I'm calculating how much I can make off selling all, you know, 13 of the 15 books. And then I get them. I'm like, man, this looks sweet. Maybe I'll hold on to this one for a while. And I end up selling 5 of them. So when you get that back, it's going to look sweet in that slab. It's going to have a nice high grade. You might not want to part with it when you get it.
That's what I'm afraid of. I might have someone else open it and post it for me. I'm going to just take the box and send it to a friend and say, put this on eBay, will you? I don't know. I really like it too because I collect Adam Hughes anyway, and it's a beautiful book. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I was thinking, like, okay, if I got the money, even if I had the money, they come up fairly often. But would I want to spend that money? Like, if I had $1,200, I wouldn't have bought that book. So about the only way that I was going to get that book was this way, you know, was kind of getting lucky and finding it in a long box. That's about the only way that I was ever going to get that book. So maybe I should keep it.
Well, what's the next key that's on your target list, like your want list?
I don't really have one that big. Like I don't have one on my list right now. I have a couple. I have that Marvel Tales 116. The werewolf cover I'm trying to get a hold of, but that doesn't come up for a reasonable price like ever.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That if you sell that for like $1,000 or $1,100 or $800, you can get one of those books that you probably otherwise never going to want to spend the money on when it comes up. Something to think about. You know what I mean?
Oh, trust me, I'm thinking about it. I can't help it. It's all I think about.
Because you can get like a Daredevil 1 or a Strange Tales 110 in a low grade for like $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
That's a decent copy.
That's my goal. Daredevil number 1 for sure.
TV one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Daredevil 1 low grade right now is a super investment, and it's an excellent price. I just saw like a 5.0 last month on one of the auction sites, went for $1,500.
What the heck?
For like a 5.0.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to strike now that they canceled the Netflix thing and they still haven't done anything else, because once a show comes up, you know it's going to go up.
That's why I'm got to hit this year. Yep.
You got to hit it. Yeah, hit it quick. Yep.
Yeah, and I noticed the lowest prices. I keep an eye on these silver keys, even though I don't collect them. But the lowest prices I'm seeing on Daredevil 1s are in the Comic Connect and the Comic Link auctions. Every month they have a Daredevil 1, and every month it goes so low. It's such a good price right now for what it is, and that's a true first appearance Silver Age key. That's not one of those like, Silver Surfer 1 where it's just a big premiere issue type thing.
It's got everything. It's got everything.
Yeah, and Daredevil's a major character. That's a major key. Like, what the hell?
Legendary creators, a character.
Yeah,
sure.
Yep. And like you said, it's a true first appearance, because a lot of the Silver Age keys I don't get real excited about because they're first Silver Age appearance of, and that doesn't hold as much for me as a true first appearance does. So
yeah,
I mean I know I'm never going to have the first appearance of Captain America, but that doesn't mean I'm settling for the first Silver Age appearance either. I just won't have it. So that's kind of how
I'd be okay with the Namor. Like, what was that? Fantastic Four. What is it?
4.
Is it 4? Yeah, I'd be totally okay with that. I love Namor. He's such a jerk, and there's no way that you could get his original appearance.
Right.
So not for me anyway. So I would love to have that.
Marvel Comics 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's
2 is his first cover appearance, though I think.
Yeah.
The timelies are so different in what they are than Silver Age superhero books. They're almost not even related, even though they have the same character. When you say it's like the first Silver Age appearance of Submariner or Namor, sort of, but it's almost they're worlds apart as far as the types of pieces of art and the types of books they are, that I actually would consider the first Silver Age appearance, a lot of these, to be first appearance books. I mean, that's the superhero era, and then the Golden Age timelies is another world entirely, even though some of those characters were carried over because the company owned the rights, but they're so different that they really are distinct, unique. The Silver Age first appearances count to me.
That would be a good topic for us to discuss sometime, because that would take an hour and a half at least for us to go through those.
Argue about those. Yeah.
And Namor, I'll tell you,
the
same guy, but in the Golden Age, the guy was a giant. He was huge. He was like 20 feet tall or something. The guy is gigantic. And in the Silver Age, he's just sort of regular sized. He's just a big dude. But the Golden Age Namor is a giant. I mean, he's massive. He's super tall. He's huge.
Well, DS, you have to remember that in the Silver Age, they actually made the comics a little bit smaller. So in order to fit him in there, they had to shrink him down.
I guess, but I mean, he was lifting battleships out of the water in the Golden Age, and he's not doing that in the Silver Age. So.
It's the gravity has changed in 50 years.
I mean, he'd be grabbing a submarine out of the water and swinging it, and in the Golden Age, stuff like that. And these Silver Age, he's just like a regular sized dude.
Yeah, it sounds like the Golden Age one's better. I agree. All right, so now I guess everyone's already gone, so we thank you all. Roger. We can't do that to Roger. Roger, what do you got for us? Shoot us with some of your books you wish you hadn't let it go.
Well, first of all, props to Stir Fry there. He had New Warriors up there. Yeah. He and I are big New Warriors fans. So probably
$1 was 50 cents. 50 cents last weekend.
Ooh, nice.
It's worth that, but it's okay.
Yeah, nice. I have the first and second print, so I got $1 into both. So, but I have like all their appearances except through that Civil War fiasco,
Right? Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I know that you and I are probably two of the few on YouTube who are big New Warriors.
I keep pushing it. I'm not gonna stop.
I know you are. I mean, let me tell you, I'm such a fan of yours, because man, you are like this, like the patron saint of hopeless causes,
Night Thrasher. One day, one of these days.
One day, yeah, one day. Bub, I didn't talk to you about this, but I mentioned today in my video that tomorrow I'm going to do a comic room reveal, and I'm going to take you behind the scenes, and I'm going to show you around, how today I did a video about what the room looked like, bare with just boxes. And tomorrow I'm going to show it in all its glory.
Cool.
But it's nothing like yours, Stir Fry. Let me tell you, yours is
I don't
totally.
know.
Yours is totally
I
awesome.
saw you Saturday throwing those books down. I was pretty impressed with it.
Oh yeah, Matt, you saw that. Huh?
Yeah.
So I did tell people that I'd show them a little sneak peek here on BUB'S on the chat. So with your permission, Bub, I'm gonna just pan over here and just show a little bit of what you're all gonna see tomorrow, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I mean, you announced. I watched your video earlier. You had already announced it on your video, so
right.
But
I didn't talk to you about it. So
you're not asking permission at this point. You set me up to be the bad guy. I like always. The kids hate me because of you. I always gotta play the heavy. Go ahead. I'm dying to see it.
Bub is aces with me. I mean, and even more so next week when you're going to hear something else about me and Bub. But anyway, I don't want to show a lot because tomorrow's going to be the big thing, right? But let's just pan over here.
Hey,
and up there, somebody sent me a skit he did.
Wait, we missed you. We lost it. You froze up. We missed it. What'd you say?
Oh, you're kidding.
Again. No,
sorry.
Bub, can you lock the screen on him?
I already did. I locked it on him.
Okay.
Is it there? Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody made a sketch up there for me sometime back on a contest I won.
Oh, nice.
And I think he might be in the
keeps locking.
He's being coy, but it was Stir Fry himself that did that Ghost Rider sketch up there.
It's cool. You have it on the wall. Yeah, you keep freezing. Seems like.
Really? Oh, I guess the phone doesn't want to reveal the room. It's fighting hard because it wants tomorrow to be special.
That look good. I like that.
I'm going to take you a tour of the room. Let me tell you, Stir Fry, it's a lot of work to get a comic room together, man.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I thought I would get this ready in a month. It took me 2, and I mean scrambling to get it ready. Right?
It took me a month to film it. I couldn't even.
Oh, jeez.
I was trying to have a good time and trying to be somewhat witty, and it was just either a baby was crying or it was there was a lot going on. It took me about 3 weeks to try to put together a room tour. It took me a while to dust. That was an issue.
I guess the wife said you're not getting this on film without dusting, right?
Dusted.
Yeah. I had to clean up too. So I had to clean up too.
I can't wait to see that though. It's a long time coming.
As I keep telling a few guys that I've talked to, it's not going to be the size or the scope of a lot of comic rooms, but it's kind of my little slice of heaven here, and it's and I really like it. So
well, keep in mind, Roger, there's some of us out there that are looking up at the better rooms, and yours is above us. So when I see your room, I'm envious because you have a nice space there. So there's a lot of us out here that don't have those rooms. So what you've got, it's really, really special, man. It's a nice space, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and
I love the view too. I thought it was beautiful when you showed it earlier in your little video. I thought the view from the room makes all the difference too. And I hope you don't, listen to all the extremists out there and like black them out or anything crazy like that.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to be having I'm going to cover the comics, not the window. So,
okay.
So that way I don't have to worry about that because you're right. I have a beautiful view of a nice pine, a lot of pines back here. So I'm not going to cover. There's a lake right beyond them, so I'm not going to cover that up. But anyway, and this room is really 40 some years in the making, because I've always wanted one and I've just never had the opportunity, but now I do. So I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay, so back to the topic here. So yeah, check tomorrow around 3:00 Eastern. I should have it ready.
All right.
Hialeah Comic Bro had a video called "Regrets I Have a Few," and don't, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, because I was thinking about my regrets at that point, and I have more than a few, but I'm going to focus really on 3. I have, again, when you've been collecting for 45 years, you have probably equal amount of regrets as you do purchases. You know what I mean? It's just inherent in this hobby. So my first one is that I had a complete near mint set of the Joker comics 1 through 9.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got those out of a quarter bin in a convention back in 1987, 88, somewhere in there. Absolutely dead mint, each and every one. For sure, 9.6s, maybe 9.8s. And there was a time in my life where I wanted to pay the rent, you know? So I sold them on the Comics Buyer's Guide, I think for like $100.
Oh wow.
You know? So I really regret that because I'll never get those back at that condition. I just never will. And then of course now they're worth quite a bit of coin.
Those were always kind of hot, weren't they? Just a little. I mean, it seems like.
Well, not in the 80s, but once the Batman movie hit.
Yeah.
What was that? 89? When was that?
89.
Yeah. 89.
Yeah. Once that hit, yeah, you couldn't find them. But those were quarter bin fodder for many years. By the way, I have kind of a sore throat I'm getting over, so if you hear me cough or pause, it's because I'm drinking some tea.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't partake of the heavy stuff. Hey, Kenny, Comic Cat 84 is in the chat. Hey, and C Wood. All right, we got some great chat today. So so that's one. And the reason I have this, by the way, somebody asked me what this is. This is an old comic review price guide. And notice, Bub, what that is right there.
Oh yeah.
10 gem mint Wolverine #1. Because I don't have it, obviously, so I have to show it, right?
Yeah.
And there's actually 2 on here, but Iron Man 55 right here. Rayman has one, and I'm always teasing him about it because I've probably had opportunity to buy 5 of these for less than $5. And each and every time I flubbed it. And now it is way out of my price range. So again, it's Starlin art, and I'm a big Starlin fan, always have, but I didn't want to pay more than $5 for it. And I just let it go various times. It was there in the store, back in the 80s for $6, $7, and I just let it go. And today I really regret that.
Yeah.
So that one hurts because of, I don't want it because of the Thanos appearance. I want it because it's a Starlin and a rockin' issue, So, and the last one I'm gonna talk about is it's a regret in a sense, but it has a happy ending, right? Because as you many of you know, these 2 comics here. I bought off the rack in 1974, but not these copies. I found these in a dollar bin of a dealer in Westland Mall. Hialeah will know where that is. Back in 1982, I want to say. But I let somebody borrow these, and they kept them. They never returned them to me. And so for about 3 or 4 years, I was like trying to get them back, and I just couldn't. So my regret is that I didn't have the wisdom to see through somebody that was wanting to take advantage of me. So kind of a cautionary tale. Make sure that that the things that you treasure are, if you do leave it to somebody, make sure that you have some witness, first of all, and that is somebody that you absolutely trust and know that they're good people.
Because has Bob apologized yet?
Yeah.
Now let me tell you, Stir Fry, I have had my share of cautionary tale in my life, but not with Roger.
No.
So
No, it was not Bub.
That wasn't me.
He would be much older, this person, at this point. So that's it. But honestly, the like when DS was talking about that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I had an opportunity to buy that, but it doesn't really mean that much to me. So it's not a regret that I really, something that that really hovers over me. So that's not something that bothers me. But if I hadn't found these two, years later on, that would have bothered me. Yes.
That's fair. Well, cool. Anything else you missed out on or wished you had bought and didn't buy?
Oh yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to buy ASM 121 and 122 in a half price sale in 1983 for $10. But I didn't, because again, I just didn't. I have kind of a threshold of what I would pay for comics, and that was $5. If it was more than that, I wouldn't buy. I don't care what it was. I wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I almost bought a set of 121 and 122 last year, or maybe like 18 months ago. They were, the 122 was a 9.6 and the 121 was a 9.4, and it was $800 for the pair.
Wow.
And I passed on it because I
That's
didn't want them. I didn't want them as much as some other stuff, but man, those would be, the value has gone up, and those were cheap at the time. They didn't stick around long when I came across them, but man, that was a recent regret of something I didn't pick up that I probably should have.
Yeah, it's hard too when you get those deals come up, but what are you going to do? I mean, there's always something that I'm obsessing over, if you will. And I hate to use that term, but it's true. There's always a book that's at the top of my mind that I'm thinking, look, every dollar I don't spend here is a dollar towards that, right?
Right.
But then these great deals come up in the meantime, and you're like, oh man, but I can take a little off that budget to get this good deal because it may not come up again. But if you do that a couple of times, your budget's gone. And when the book you're after finally does come up for the price you want, you don't have any money. So
yeah, that's why I stick to big books. I try not to buy anything small anymore, because if I'm buying small stuff, I never have enough to buy the big stuff. So I just don't buy anything. And then much more infrequently, I pick up the big book, but I didn't pick up a bunch of small stuff in between the big books. So that helps me get big books because I don't have a lot of money to work with. And I really try to be efficient and maximize what I do have to work with. Otherwise, I'd never be able to have books like the ones I have. There'd be no way. And I didn't have them for so long because I would buy, a $100 book, a $50 book, stuff at the comic store, or, buy a 9.8 of something for $200 several times, and then you can't buy the $1,000 book that you really want. So it's tough. You get a budget to work with, and you got to really be disciplined to stick to your budget and go after your big targets. But I still buy small stuff along the way. It's impossible not to.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard to stay good, if you will.
It's hard to stay focused. Yeah, I mean, like you said, what if you're so focused on one thing and that you can't see the forest but the trees, and there's a really good deal out there that, like you, Bub, like what if that Legion, for example, I mean, it's $2, so that was a no-brainer. But what if it was 50? What if it was 100? At what point do you say, hey, I'm not going to go for it because I have another end game, a bigger goal, versus I got to take advantage of it because I may never see it again.
Well, you're absolutely right. If it was $100, I probably wouldn't have bought it, even though it would have been an easy deal. Buy it and flip it. I didn't know the exact value of that book. I only knew that it was valuable, and I remembered that it was a key book and that other people have shown it off and that it was a big book. I knew it was a big book, but I didn't know how big, and I never pull out my phone in front of a dealer because it's the best way to kill a deal. You pull out your phone and you start looking. I've bought books in multiples by accident because I didn't want to check my list to see if I already owned it, in fear that a dealer would think that I was price checking. So I never pull out my phone in front of a dealer. I just try and be as knowledgeable as I can be when I go in. And so I knew it was a big book, but I didn't know how much. So if I'd known it was, a $500 to $1,000 book, I would have easily given them one to 300 probably, and taken it out of there. But since I didn't know that, if it had been priced at $100, it would have stayed there. So that's a good example. You're right.
Well, I took my 181 to Baltimore Comic Con to try to trade it for something Golden Age or whatever, and I ended up selling it. But I shopped it around at several of the big dealers, and every single one I brought it to brought out their phone and looked up GPA on it. Every single one. And I'm like, and I gave them a fair price. I mean, I was giving them a little room for profit, but so that I would make a profit on what I paid. And every single one of them had to pull up a GPA site on a Hulk 181 that was already slabbed in a grade and look it up on their phone. So, it didn't bother me, but I was surprised that all of them had to look that up. It's such a hot book. But yeah, they do it. And then, the dealers at the LCSs, they go on eBay when you get the price register. So I'm perfectly fine pulling out my phone in front of them. They show me a book and the price. I'm like, yeah, let me pull out my phone in front of you and check this, because they do it. And you know what I mean? I'm not worried about it, but I see what you're saying though.
Man, when I walked out of there, I had, according to sticker price, including that book, I had $75, and I only paid $60 for them. And if I had taken out my phone at any time during that period, I just feel like I could have busted the deal, because if I take out my phone, he takes out his phone, all of a sudden he's going to change the price, and it's over. I don't get the book. So,
well, I agree with what Comics Addiction is saying. Sellers shouldn't have to pull out their phone. They should have priced this stuff and it's ready to go. But buyers, I feel it's a whole different ballgame. If you're a buyer, you don't know what you're going to encounter. You need to have that phone ready to price check things and check on values. But as a seller, if you've got price, you should have prices on things, and you shouldn't have to be checking it at the time of a negotiation or a purchase. If you're selling, you price it. That's what it is. If you're buying, you may have to do research on the spot. That's how I feel about it.
That's fair. I just didn't want him to do any more research than I was doing, and then no sale. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I look us up and I start sweating. I'm like, oh man, oh my gosh, I got $1,000 profit. Here, take my money. And he's like, wait a minute, let me check my phone.
Yeah, sometimes that adrenaline gets pumping when you're about to make like a snipe purchase, and you don't want it. You're like so worried something's going to go wrong, and you don't want to do anything to look out of the ordinary. You'll buy like 6 other crap books that you don't even want, and put 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top, and slide that one in the middle and bring the stack up, and you're shaking because you hope nothing's going to go wrong.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Well, like Hialeah Comic Bro was saying, step away and then check your phone. Let me tell you something. I was not going to put that book down, and I couldn't step away because I was at the dealer's table. So I couldn't start walking the book away because it was in a bigger shop. So I was kind of stuck there. And I wasn't going to put it down because there were 3 other people searching at the same time I was. And everyone was doing the same thing. As soon as somebody pulled out a book, everyone was reaching around, looking over their shoulder to see what they got. So luckily I had pulled this book out, and I pulled out the book behind it and in front of it at the same time, so no one would see what it was. So I pulled them out as a stack to hide it from the other people shopping.
Very smart.
And then kept it in the stack, and then later slipped those 2 books back out of the stack and put them back in the box. And then, so yeah.
Well, it works the other way too. I've had Golden Age books that I've offered up for sale, and with some prospective buyers, I'm like, throw me an offer, and there's not a lot of data out there, so they look it up and they can't find what they're looking for on their phone, and they get so caught up in trying to find some internet site that will tell them what they should pay for it that we can't make a deal because they can't make an offer because they don't know what it's worth. And sometimes you just need to step out and say, what am I comfortable paying for it? And it doesn't, there's one thing to look up a value or a GPA or something, or a going rate, but you also have to be able to just sort of be willing to pay or sell for a price that you're comfortable with for what it is. And it doesn't always have to match up with what's the data out there, because I see a lot of books on eBay right at GPA or just under, sitting there forever. Because, they're just looking it up on GPA and putting it out there, and it's not selling. They could drop that price, 15, 20% and get less than GPA and sell it quick and get the money to go towards something else. So I try not to get too caught up in that stuff. And with Golden Age, it's easy. It really assists me in that regard because there's not data on a lot of these. But yeah, so.
Yeah, and in that case, oh, sorry, Bob, go ahead.
No, he's absolutely right. I mean, it can go both ways. But for me, I just don't take the chance because it's rarely going to go that way for me, only because the books that I'm going after generally are pretty well known, the price range. If anything, the dealer already has a price and it's overpriced, so I'm working with that situation.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, somebody like DS, I mean, it pays to be an informed comic, connoisseur. Because when the situation comes up like that, like DS, now he's obviously, his knowledge on those Golden Age and Atom Age books are off the charts. But if you are going to a city, it pays to be informed about all comic books, because you never know what you could encounter. And the opportunities sometimes come up in unexpected areas, flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, etc. So, and it like you said, Bub, if you start taking out your phone and looking up stuff, well, that's license for them to do the same.
Yeah.
So if you are informed and you are an informed buyer and you have knowledge about it and you can have a coherent conversation about the product that you are trying to acquire, it goes a long way into you being able to get a good deal if you know more than they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this horrific one would be really tough for me to sell this book, honestly. This would not be easy to sell, even though it's highly sought after and it's very recognizable. It's a top pre-code horror book, because the grade, there's not a lot out there. I wouldn't really know what to ask for. I don't want to give it away, and people are not going to be comfortable paying. This would be a very tough book to sell. I wouldn't even really know how to price this as a 1.8 slightly brittle that looks really good. It would be really tough. So you got to just sort of go with your gut sometimes, because this one, you're not going to find any data on this. You can't look this one up. It's just not going to happen. You just got to know what you want for it. So I wouldn't even know what to price that at. That would be a tough one to sell or to buy, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful book. I'll take it. I'll make you an offer after the show.
Well, somebody wanted it. I told them $500, and then that stopped the negotiation. I knew that was probably high, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine keeping it, but it didn't even go anywhere. So if I would have said 200, it probably been an instant sale. So somewhere between 2 and 5 probably on this book. But this has the most. I posted this on my Instagram. It's just recently. It's got more likes than everything I've posted. All my books. This is the most liked item I have. So I don't know. It's weird, some of these books.
It's a winner. All right, guys. We've done it again. We've wasted everybody's time and our time too. But I've enjoyed it as usual.
Greatly.
So I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining us. I especially want to thank our very special guest. He's so special. He came in on a little short yellow bus. We're really thankful to have him here.
Wow,
Stir Fry
thanks,
in the
Bob.
house.
That's why no one invites you to chats, okay?
Exactly.
That can't be the only reason.
Good one, Stir Fry. Good one.
So we thank you for being here and for taking your time to share with us and just being a part of the chat. One of my favorite YouTubers, hands down for sure. I'm pretty sure I've seen every one of your videos since I subbed to you. I never missed one. I appreciate it.
I missed it today in that Adam Hughes story, but I'm familiar with big fan of yours as well. So
yeah, me too. Your videos are so cool because you're like, how the heck are you? And you're so whimsical, and you and 64-page special just have that special knack about making me laugh on the most mundane things, and it's a talent that you and he have.
He's a hero of mine. His humor is just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, you are in the same boat, my friend.
Appreciate that. It's great. Thank
you guys do a great job. And I agree, 64-page special is another one that I can't miss. Can't miss YouTube. Yeah. There's two right there for sure. Yep. All right, guys, and I want to, of course, thank Stir Fry. You don't have any. Yeah, you do. You have a sign off. Go ahead. Tell us all who's right.
Yeah, spade neuter your pets, and Magneto is right. I say it every time.
That's right. I love it. And we'll leave DS for last because he'll hang up immediately. So go ahead, Roger.
All right, great chat. Great to have everybody here. Absolutely awesome people in the room here. Everybody be blessed and be back.
Thank you, Roger. And DS, go ahead.
Well, it was a really enjoyable show. Sensori, Stir Fry, thanks for being here. And I'm glad you came back and got your audio fixed. And everybody in chat, thanks for being here. Do your homework, and we'll catch you next week.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us in No Faces chat. We'll catch you the same time next week, and read a comic. Thanks. Bye.